Okay, so I finished Before the Storm, the final episode, and then I did the what's it called? I did like the bonus episode with Chloe and Max back in time. So I'm just gonna start and say that the game was disappointing. I know like a lot of people. I was looking online to see like what are the reviews because by the way, I didn't play the third episode. It turned out I only played the first two when I first played the game like years ago, and maybe it was for a good reason because that third episode sucked. But yeah, I was looking online to see like what are other people saying? Like, is it just me who's saying like this episode sucked? And like usual with these type of like cult type game studios and games, like, these type of games, it's split. There's some people who are saying exactly what I'm saying, and some people who kind of cope. That's all I'm gonna say. They cope and say, "Oh, it all makes sense. Oh, actually, it's just a prequel." Like even someone commented, yeah, I do read the comments. Of course, I read the comments. I mean, the one comment that came in, the one guy was like, it's a prequel, so it makes sense that these games, it's not going to be like this. But it's like I said this in the last podcast. I don't think people play these games to have a simple school drama. Like it, I don't know. Like say Bully. Bully's like a high school drama kind of game. The whole thing is about you're trying to become the coolest guy in school kind of thing. Oh, there's this guy who's a douchebag and betrayed you. Like, yeah, that's a normal school scenario in a way, but they kind of gamify it. They make it fun, even though it's a simple plot. In this game, they gamify boringness. Like there's nothing gamified about it, I guess. It's just walking around and investigating, but you're not investigating anything because nothing ever adds up, or like nothing, you never get rewarded for your investigation. Like you're expect, at least for me, I expect to be shocked. I expect to have a good story. I expect to be rewarded for like being really in tune with the drama or with the story or with the game, and then it ends up that you get nothing. And some people will say that, oh, it's because they didn't have enough time. They didn't have enough time. They wanted to do more, but they had to cut some scenes. If the scenes they cut, the crap that they leave in is this bad, then it seems like they didn't even need to cut any scenes. It would have just been a longer bad game. Like I went through, I don't even know what to say. Like it's like say the game itself, it's very well, like the modeling and the graphics are very well done. The world building, or the world environment is really well done. The voice acting is really well done. So it's hard for me to fully believe that, oh, they just didn't have enough time, because I'm like, they had enough time to craft all this other stuff that was very well done, but somehow they didn't have enough time to make a good story. Like, I don't think it's that it wasn't enough time. It's just a lot of these writers do not know how to end a story. They just don't. They know how to start. I don't know if this is with the teaching of how to teach literature, or like the writing styles of maybe Americans or something. Or well, there it's a French studio, so maybe it's with the French. I don't know, but people, you see this in movies, you see this in TV shows, you see this in a lot of books, you see this in video games. They know how to start. They have a great start to the game because maybe there's a lot of hope, there's a lot of like passion. They have this great idea, so they know how to start, and they know how to like almost get to the middle. It's like somewhere in that 2/5 of the story, things start to decline, and then everything afterwards, like the third fifth of the story, you're like, this is not really what I'm expecting. Like, oh, I hope the fourth fifths, like the last 2/5 of the game or of the story is going to like make up for this. Then the second or the fourth fifth of the story is not as good. So you're like, ooh, this is not turning out right. But surely the conclusion, like, they're going to have a big reveal, or everything's going to make sense after a while. And then it doesn't. And then it doesn't. It just seems like they just rush it all. They're just like, okay, we're just going to tie up all the loose ends and just end it because we don't know where to go with this. Where it's like, I don't know, like if I'm making a story, I already have the conclusion kind of in my head. Like I know what I want, how I want to end it. Or if anything, let's say you don't know how to end it. Like you just know a good idea. Like, oh, I want to make a story about cars that fly, and we have a gas freaking crisis. It's like, oh, I don't know where to go with that, but this is an interesting story. Then like you need to, like, if you're going to end the story, like you need to end it in a way that makes sense. Like make it maybe based off of some beginning parts. Maybe make it based off of the shocking twist. Like there has to be a conclusion. There has to be like something where you're like, oh wow, it makes sense, or oh wow, that was sweet, or oh wow, that like I can't, I'm lost. I'm lost now. I want more. But they just tie up loose ends, end it, like where there's no really thoughts about it. Like in this game, before I even talk about the story, they're just like, okay, Rachel's mother, you meet her, and then she just decides she doesn't want to meet you anymore. It's like, huh? What was the point of all this thing? What was the point of her coming all the way to freaking wherever they live in Oregon just to say, like, at the end, oh, and then you had to have the fans make up their own fan fiction, but like, actually, well, it's because she was drugged in, now she saw the real her, and she didn't want her to see you. It's like, huh? Like, if you had to make all these compromises just for the conclusion to be good, you have to make an outside compromise for the conclusion to be good, then that wasn't a good conclusion. That wasn't a good game. Like, what the heck? But that's just the beginning rant, because I have a lot to say. So let's start with the episode opens. It's the father talking about the mother, which again doesn't make sense. He's like, that wasn't a kiss of love. That was a kiss of goodbye. And then he tells this whole story, which is all summarized into he was enamored by a girl, but then she was addicted to drugs. So because she's addicted to drugs and she wasn't taking care of the baby, she was like, getting high off meth or whatever it is, heroin. He decided to leave her, which makes sense. What doesn't make sense is everything afterwards. Like, for example, he was married for how many years? 10, 11, 12, whatever years. No, like 15 years, apparently, because he divorced and married a new woman that quickly after he broke up, because, of course, Rachel only remembers her stepmom. She has no memory of this real mother, but she has the longing for it, I guess, all her life. Like, she always felt like something's missing, and that thing that was missing was her real mother. But, she doesn't know, because she was like 5 months old by the time he left, apparently, because she was so addicted to heroin. And yeah, I guess heroin. I don't know which one. But then she tries to get back into the life again, because apparently she got off the habit. So she's like, oh, I want to see my daughter now, 15 years later, now I want to see my daughter, which is, it's reasonable. She gave birth to a thing, and she wants to see it again now that she's off the stuff. But he didn't want her to meet her, because she's dangerous, or whatever his cope is. She's very dangerous, and he doesn't want Rachel to meet her. But that doesn't explain why he kissed. Like, that doesn't make any sense, because he still like cheated, or he still made a weird reaction to meeting her. But that's never explained. Like, that could have been a good, like, kind of not twist, but like, I don't know, a character development to like mention, or have one of the other characters mention that, hey, he's still cheating on the mom, or maybe have the stepmom be disturbed by this, distraught by this, that like, he's still talking to this girl, this ex-wife. He still has feelings for her. But no. They just brush over that. I think you asked the mother about that, and she's like, after 15 years of marriage, I'm not threatened. It's like, okay, I guess we gain nothing from that. There's no rise and fall. There's nothing. There's no rising anything. It's just a sentence said. So after that story, I'm still like, that was a kind of that. So that's what this was all about. This whole like entire game, basically, because this game was basically all about Rachel and finding out what's this mystery about her father cheating on her mom. And it turns out, oh no, that's just your ex-mom. Yeah, she's just a meth head. We just don't talk about her. And that was a kiss of goodbye. It was the saddest kiss of my life. So then I went to talk to the father, and he's like, I just don't want you to meet her because she's dangerous. It's just don't meet her. She's dangerous. And you already know, because of how Rachel acts and how the writers are, she's going to try to meet her because she's so enamored by this mystery. So you go upstairs, you see Rachel sitting there all sad because she realizes the truth that her whole life's been a lie. Her real mother is a meth head, and her other mother isn't her real mother, even though she that's all she knew her whole life. It's not her real mother. And the dad technically lied to her. I mean, it did lie to her about like the truth, but still. So you do a little light show of the stars, and she does this whole thing like, oh, it doesn't matter about the stars. It's a lie. Everything's a lie because the stars are already dead. I used to think they're beautiful, but now I know they're all dead. It's like, huh? No, they're not all dead. No. Some stars last a pretty long time, and, some of the stars are not that far away. They're not 150 quintillion light years away. Some of these stars are not that far. Like, they might be, let's just say 1,000 light years away, or maybe a million light years away. But in a million light years, I don't think the stars explode in supernova. Pretty sure. Maybe they do. I'm pretty sure they don't. Maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe in just 1,000 years, our sun's going to explode. So, I mean, they're not. I think it's like a million years it takes, and more, million years for it to go supernova, I think. Whatever, this is not even part of the story. So anyway, so she's doing all this drama, seemingly she gave up on wanting to leave Arcadia Bay. You would think, realistically, like, based off of all this, she would be like, I want to leave now. I'm done with it. I want to leave now. Let's pack our bags and go. Yeah, 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 yeah. You would think that that's what she would want to do. But it turns out, no, she's like, oh, I want to meet my mother. That's it. That's what I want now. I don't care about leaving Arcadia Bay anymore, even though, like, literally, that was your whole thing about, like, he lied to me and this, so I want to leave now. I have nothing left to care about. But now, this slight reveal of the truth, she's like, I want to stay here, but I also want to meet the mother and then stay. So you're like, okay. And then not Rachel, Chloe's like, okay, I can fix my car or that truck that was in the scrapyard, and we can drive to see your mother or figure out where she lives or something. So she goes back home in the morning to, get car supplies or whatever, mechanical equipment, so she can fix the truck. And when she's in the house, she notices, what's his name? I guess she just assumed, but she assumed that the step douche, David, I think his name is, David was rambling around in her room to look for this weed because he's obsessed with the weed, which is funny because, like, nowadays, I mean, it's still a thing, but, like, nowadays, weed's not as voodoo or bad as people try, like, as in the past they made it be. Like, even in Life is Strange 1, they made the weed thing be like, oh man, this is so edgy, this is so cool. But like now it seems like 99% of people, obviously not 99%, but there's a huge majority of people who have smoked weed. So it's not as, like, edgy and cool as they try to make it seem on the game. So it's like kind of a funny thing about time, I guess, how certain things can be changed or, be looked at differently. But anyway, David's trying to look for this weed because, weed is dangerous, the most dangerous drugs, oh man, blah, 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 blah. So she sees all her stuff all moved around and, not clean. So she's all pissed that David messed up her stuff to look for the weed. And then she decided that she's going to take a shower. And I guess what you're noticing is that, like, David's fully moving in at this point. This house is now his because he moved all his stuff in. He has his toothbrush and his towels and all that. So it's just trying to show that, he really is about to move in. So you go take a shower and then you go downstairs because you need to go into the garage and get your stuff. And you see, there's another thing that is Mother's Day. I don't know what, I don't know. It's just weird little things that they add. Like, what is the purpose of the Mother's Day part? Like, I guess it's like to show like time moves on and she forgot and this. But, like, there's never an addition to it. There's never there's just a yes. It's like, okay, this happens. Like, oh, okay, it's Mother's Day. And what? What are you trying to establish by saying that it's Mother's Day or, like, creating this drama? But then if it's just one scene and then you walk out the door, like, what was the purpose of even having the Mother's Day be the day? It could have been just any day, and that same scene would have made no difference. But anyway, it turns out it's Mother's Day. And you see David and the mother dancing. In that scene, you see that, oh, the mother's actually very happy to be with David. It's showing, like, it shows Chloe's, like, kind of realizing that, I guess this is real, and she really does like David. So she tries to go out the door, but then David hears, like, oh, who's that? And then he sees Chloe. So Chloe has this whole little talk with his mother, the mother saying, like, oh, are you coming back? This. Oh yeah, she also dyed her hair. So that was, like, I guess showing that why she slowly dyed her hair. But this is another thing, like, I don't know. For me, usually in these stories, like, when there's, like, a big change like that, like, say with the dyeing the hair, usually it would symbolize, like, oh, there's this growth. She's a new person. Like, the little streak of hair is, like, the growth of her becoming her true self or something. And, like, in Life is Strange 1, all her hair is blue because she's finally in tune with herself or something like that. But no, like, with this one, it's just like, oh, she just dyed her hair blue. She just saw the dye and she just decided to. Nothing really changed about her character. Literally nothing. There's no, like, character development with Chloe, really. It's just she just decided to dye her hair. Because, of course, they're like, oh, Chloe has blue hair in the Life is Strange 1. We got to show that, why she dyed her hair blue. And it turned out she just dyed her hair blue because it just happened to be leftover dye from when she was a kid and used to do Bluebeard or whatever. Like, this is so... There's never any connection. There's never any reward or, like, I don't know, greater meaning to anything in this game. So anyway, she notices the dyed hair, they talk, blah, 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 blah. And then it basically ends up that David tries to give a olive branch and be like, oh, I understand that your dad's dead. I understand how that feels because I'm a Marine. My best friend Frank, he died too when we were in war. It's like, what the heck? That doesn't even count. That doesn't even connect to anything. Like, you would never do, like, I guess some people would do that because they just don't know how to talk to people who are in a grieving kind of mood, or like, who have experienced loss. Comparing someone's father who died to like, oh, my best friend, he died in Iraq. It's like, no, that doesn't count. That, like, yeah, maybe it hurts for him, but that was a weird addition. Like, and you could tell like they're trying to do that so then you feel bad for David. Like, oh, you're like, this justifies, why he's such a mean person because his best friend died in war. It's like, no, like in real life, maybe that would be different. Like, of course, I wouldn't be saying this about someone in real life unless they said something like that. Like, I know your whole family died in the nuclear explosion, but my best friend died in war once. Like, no. But in the game, it's like, I don't know, you didn't need to add that, and then it didn't really fit. It doesn't like fit the mood or the emotion or the drama of it. Him just randomly like, you see this photo of my he died in war, so I know how you feel about your dad being completely obliterated by a train or whatever, a truck. I understand. It's like, that's not why Chloe is mad. Or at least that's, that I would hope in the writing is saying that's not why Chloe's mad. Chloe is mad because not only is her dad dead, but she doesn't like the fact that her mom is moving on. She doesn't like the fact that her mom is replacing the dad now. Like, maybe that's not in her, how the mom is looking at it. She just wants to be comforted and be have someone to help raise the child and this. But in Chloe's eyes, her dad's being replaced, and she doesn't want to replace her dad because she loved her dad that much, and it was just such an important person in her life. And to see her own mom seemingly forgetting about him, when to her, that's all that's in her mind is about her dad. So that's why she's mad at David. And of course, David doesn't understand. But there's no really reward for that, or like there's no like end to it. It's just David's like, forgive me. This is why I'm mad all the time. And then he tries to give her the photo, where I'm like, why is that even a choice? Like, I know a lot of people feel bad for people in general. Like, they're going to accept the photo or they accept the olive branch of David. But there's two reasons why that doesn't make sense. First reason, one, Chloe would never have accepted the olive branch. Like, in her personality from Life is Strange 1, she hates David and she loved her dad. So the fact that David is going to replace her dad, or trying to, she would never accept that olive branch. She just wouldn't. And two, which I already kind of alluded to, in Life is Strange 1, we see that she hates David. She still hates him. So it doesn't make sense that they keep trying to show like David is like, I don't know, like actually he's a good guy. There's if you make these certain choices, there's the lore choice of, you forgive David and this, that, and you really try to understand him. Whereas like, no, because the Life is Strange 1, the like in the future, she didn't want to understand David. Even if David was in the right, or he actually was trying. The facts that we know is that Chloe does not like David at all. She likes nothing about him. And David, in some scenario, he slapped her. So it's not like he's some type of like, oh, I'm an anti-hero, everyone forgot, doesn't understand me. No, he's just as he's kind of busted too. But they just hop over these things. I don't know if they fully played the game before writing the story. Like, they just kind of look at a synopsis and then go, okay, these are the things we just have to make sure that we connect. So then, we can add up. So the things we got to connect: the blue hair, Rachel friendship, and David moving in. That seems good enough to me. It's like, no, that's not all the stuff that's like, there's so much, like, how are you going to put so much detail in the first game and then just forget about the details to make a prequel? Why make a prequel then? Should have just made a new game if you didn't want to include the details of the first game. That's like, I don't know. To me, that's just 101 of writing. Like, you have to include these details if you're going to add to the universe. You can't add to the universe and then go, stuff just happened in that part that we didn't write about. Like, in those 2 years between the Life is Strange Before the Storm and Life is Strange 1, just stuff happened. And that's why Chloe's how she is. Why make the prequel then? What is the point of this? What is the point of all of it if it's not connecting? But anyway, of course, I denied the freaking olive branch because that's what Chloe would do. And that's what makes sense with the story. So then she runs off and then goes into the garage and gets the freaking whatever it's called, all the whatever stuff, all her mechanical stuff. And you see that David's like moving everything out, all the dad stuff out, and moving all this equipment, like his equipment in. Like he's making himself at home, which again makes it kind of douchebaggy because then it's like, I don't know. Like I get like in a certain scenario, maybe this is a very realistic character. Like people do act like this. They will go back and forth with their emotions and be like, "Oh, I'm really trying to make up for you," or like make up, and then they'll be abusive or mean or mad or bad or annoying. But then the next day they'll try to be like, "Oh, I understand. I'm self-aware that I'm like this, and this is why. But please forgive me. I won't do it again." And then they'll do it again. Like, sure, there's a ton of people who do that in real life all the time. But that's not a character that you want to see in a game. Like in a story, especially when the story is fairly short. Like this is not some like 20-year long season TV show. This is a 3-episode game. So in these 3 episodes, you have to stick to these the character tropes, because then it's too different. Like maybe if this was like I'm saying, like if this was, I don't know, 3 game series, then you can start really going to depth about the character and be like, oh, actually David was doing this, David was doing that, in between, and this is why and this is what. But it's not. So you have to make the story make sense, and you have to connect it because you only have 3 episodes to do it. But see but that was just a small little tidbit. That's not even the main part of the game, because the main part of the game is about Rachel, which is just as annoying. Afterwards, you get your equipment, you somehow get to the whatever you call it, the scrapyard. I guess you walk or something, I don't know. But you get to the scrapyard, and then you fix up your car or your truck. And was there anything that happens? You fix up the truck, you do like a little drifting thing. Somehow she knows how to drive that thing like crazy. She's drifting around, freaking like acting like a rally driver with that truck. And then you go into your little secret spot. I'm trying to remember, does she fall asleep or something? No. Then Rachel just comes. It's like, oh, I noticed the truck is at a different spot. Oh, you must have fixed it. And she's like, yeah, okay, let's go find your mom. And then it turns out, what's his name? The bad guy, Damien, and whatever, the bean guy, the freaking drug dealer dude, they both come into the scrapyard, and you're like, what the heck? Oh, no, it's because you called them. You called the drug dealer dude to find out where the mother is. So you call him and say, meet me at the scrapyard. He's like, okay. Turns out he brings his boss, the Damien dude. So the boss is like, why do you, they come up, they're all pissed, or well, the Damien dude's all pissed. He's like, why do you want to know where the mother is? And you're like, because we just want to know. It's for a friend. They're like, oh, why do you want to know? And he's like, oh, we just want to talk to her. And then he looks at Rachel. It's like, oh, you're the DA's daughter. Well, I have something for you. And then he's like getting all pissed. And I forgot what. Basically, there's like this escalation out of nowhere because he wants to force the DA, like he wants to use the DA's daughter as leverage for some reason, which doesn't connect, by the way, with the end of the game. But he's using DA's daughter for leverage. And then Rachel picks up a board and hits him in the head with it. So he's like, oh, and drops his knife. And then I'm expecting Chloe to pick up the knife and like do something, but she's just frozen. And then the Damien dude, he picks up the knife, stabs Rachel. So she's, I guess, about to die. And then Rachel finally wakes up. It's like, oh crap, oh Rachel. I'm not Rachel, Chloe. Chloe finally wakes up. It's like, oh yeah, Rachel. And then tries to drive her away. And then what's his name? Whatever, the drug dealer dude. I forget his name. But the drug dealer dude, he tackles Damien. It's like, oh, stop, calm down. And then she drives her back to Chloe drives Rachel in the hospital while they fight. And yeah, it doesn't make sense. He did need to calm down. Like I get that he's supposed to have this anger management issue and he's like kind of insane. But it's like the escalation kind of came out of nowhere. And spoiler alert, he was working with the DA for this thing. So it doesn't make sense why he was going to use the DA's daughter for leverage if he's already like working with her. Like they don't really explain anything. They could have at least explained like the deal went wrong. The deal went bad. It turned out that the DA, the father, he had second guesses, or he felt bad about like kidnapping her. And especially after seeing Rachel's reaction, and then decided that he wasn't going to go through with the deal, or he's still thinking about it. And that's why he wanted to use the DA for leverage or something. Like it turned out like I don't know. It seemed like the DA was using him for leverage, or using his, like he had evidence on the drug, on Damien, the drug insane dude. He had some type of evidence that he stabbed the dude or something. And he had like a glove, but then he was going to pay him too, because he had all this money saved up to pay him for the work that he was doing. So then I was like, I don't know. It just didn't make sense to me. Maybe it makes sense to other people, but I just think it was like very lazy writing. So anyway, you're at the hospital now. You're all sad. You see the parents come in. You know, they're all worried. Turns out she's okay. So you're gonna go and meet her or whatever. See what's up. So before you go meet her, you can go into the room and see the football player dude. I don't know what happens if you for the other choices, but you see the football player dude. For me, nothing really much said. You meet the father. Turns out the father they needed the money to help him pay for his rent or whatever. So, which makes me wonder because that's like only like a month's worth of rent. I don't know how cheap the house is. Maybe there's a really cheap house, but that's a really cheap rent if it's enough to get him on his feet because that's only a month worth of rent or $1,000. But you meet the father of the football player dude who like why they stole the money so then he could get himself on his feet. And then you go in, you see the football player dude. You don't really know if you can play football again. But you know he's chilling, and you see the two girls or whatever, or not the girls, the lesbian girl and the weirdly childish son. They are chilling, so it's just like okay, you see what they're doing. So then you leave. You go to when you go to Rachel's thing, you hear also you hear with the hospital door slightly open. You hear about Nathan, the insane dude, and it's basically just a doctor telling the father that hey, this guy's insane, like he needs like actual help. And the father's like, no, not my son. You know, well, we're the Prescotts kind of thing. So I guess this is telling you slightly, which I think that was already kind of alluded to in Life is Strange 1, because I remember O'Neill brought it up. But I guess it just lets people know that he actually does have issues, and the father slightly knew this, but was in denial. But anyway, you go into Rachel's room, and basically it just ends up that she tells you that she still wants you to meet her mother. She wants you to find out how to get information to find out where the mother is from the dad. So she wants you to break into her own house. She tells you the code to the lock or whatever and find evidence so that you can find out where the mother is. Because she still wants to meet her, but she can't meet her herself. So then you're like, okay. And then you leave. So then this is one of the craziest part. You see that Elliot dude, the guy who's like the replacement Warren. And he's like being all nosy and being like, hey, are you hanging out with Rachel? And you're like, yeah. He's like, oh, maybe I should see her. And he's like, no, she doesn't really need to see any visitors. And he's like asking all these questions about like, what are you doing? Whatever. And again, at least at the time, I'm like, this dude is weird. I just want to end this conversation. Like, this guy is freaking creepy. Like, what a freaking weirdo. And then, he just keeps pressing you as if he's owed a explanation for your whereabouts, where it's like you're not her father, you're not her mother. Who are you? It doesn't, like, why are you acting like you're owed this information? And then it turned like it just seemed like this was just a friend kind of thing, like for Chloe. Like apparently she slightly got intimate or something with him at some point, like in the past, like the far past, but still weird. So then you go to the house. So after that weird conversation, you leave and go to the house, and instantly it's showing this terrible writing. Like, I don't care what anyone says. The writing is so bad. Like, she goes into the house, she unlocks the door, she presses the 4-digit code or whatever to turn off the alarm system, and then she goes into the dad's office. Oh, behold, she leaves the front door open. And I'm like looking at this, like, because you can kind of slightly explore the house slightly. And I see the door wide open. I'm like, what person does that? Who would leave a door wide open, especially when you're breaking into the house? You would think that you would close the door. So I'm like, it must be someone's going to come in. Like, this must be like, set up for someone to come into the house and then like mess up your research or like, cause this like slight drama. And like, I shouldn't be able to predict that far in the future. Like, it shouldn't be obvious that that's about to happen and then it's obvious in the most unrealistic way. No one leaves a door wide open like that. Like, it was weird. Like, she goes into the house and just leaves it wide open. Like, you could argue, okay, this is just a Chloe thing. Chloe's forgetful. She's a punk rock, blah, 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 blah. But that's like unrealistically stupid. Like, it's not even like a part, like Chloe hasn't done anything like that before. Like, where it's at that level of like just, oh, I'm just going to leave a door open kind of thing. I don't know. It just, maybe it'd been different if it was something else. Like, she enters through a window and left the window open, but to leave a door, like the front door wide open, where it's like, okay, I already know what's going to happen. That was annoying. Oh, you go into the office with door wide open to the front door, and you're looking for all this evidence. And it turns out, you find out that the DA, the father, whatever, is like trying to put a hit out on the real mother. I don't know why, but he's trying to put a hit out. And he hired the Damien dude to, like, basically strap her up, I guess kill her. Because he doesn't he doesn't want the world to know that his first wife was a heroin addict. Whereas, like, okay, but you divorced or you broke up, so it doesn't even matter. If you learn Trump's first wife was a freaking crackhead, but then he broke up within like the first year of marriage and then he says because she did the wrong things. I don't think that would be politically like suicide or something. That wouldn't be political suicide. If anything, that would be even better that he had the whereabout or the know about or whatever the word is, to like, get away from a red flagged person. Like, he gave chances, he tried to help, and then he just couldn't. But for some reason, I guess and this is just me making assumptions because they don't explain it. I'm just assuming like, oh, maybe it's because he was afraid of the world knowing he has a crackhead wife or first wife. Maybe he's super obsessed with the daughter. He's like, oh, I don't want her to meet her at all. I'm tired of her trying to meet my daughter, so I'm just going to kill you. Or it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like, he has like it throughout the game, like you see like, basically the father's kind of investigating this web of connections with Damien, where it's like, if there's this web of connections, like, why are you investigating all this if you're already in it? You're already into the web. Like, you already know the top of the hierarchy. You already know Damien, and you're hiring him to kill off the mother. So why was this like as if he's doing this investigation? Or at least like you would think that they would like allude to like, oh, actually this investigation is not for Damien, it's for the mother. But there's no allusion to that. So after you learn that, you see his phone and you have to call Damien and like tell him like, hey, where's my wife? Or where's Sarah or whatever her name is? And he's like, oh, I got it right here. You got the money? And you're like, yeah, I got the money, because you find it behind like a bookcase or something. And he's like, hey, you promised that you would destroy the evidence. Did you destroy the evidence? And then she takes a picture of her burning the glove. You remember I was saying that glove is like evidence that he injured someone or something? So he's like, cool, okay, here's the location. Also, by the way, oh, no. And then he wanted to know who the rat was. Like, who's the person who ratted out on him? And this was stupid too, because you had like 4 choices. And I don't know, I had to look this up like while I was playing, because I was like, there's like, I know that these 3 are not like, you had like 4 choices, and I knew that one of them was definitely like one of the rats, because you find direct evidence. One of them was not. Oh, you had to look on the freaking computer. I forgot. They did, like, you had to relook at the computer, and somehow the emails change, but they don't hit that the emails change, because you could look at it before. And, you see this little information about Sarah, basically. Sarah's trying to send emails saying like, hey, I'm clean now. Please let me see my daughter. And this. You also see stuff in the drawer about checks. Like, she wasn't even accepting the money back, because he would lie saying that he would send money every month or every week or something to her. But it turned out she stopped accepting them. But yeah, you see like the checks that weren't filed or whatever, because she wasn't accepting them, because I guess she's so clean that she doesn't want the money. Like, now she wants to prove that she can have her, like, she can see her daughter without having a relapse or something, or going crazy. And you also see like a lawyer thing saying like, hey, this is kind of illegal to not let one of the parents see the daughter or whatever. So he's like, hey, you have to show her. But I guess he's just ignoring. So I don't know what the heck that is. And then if anything, that would mess up his campaign more than the freaking the crackhead mother thing. But anyway, the computer, like on the computer, it changes during that scene, like after the scene, to show like, sending emails to this other dude who was like actually the other rat. So after this, you can just lie basically and just say, hey, it was this guy. Because he's the guy who, like, remember from the first episode, you spilled beer on, and he got all pissed and was like about to kill you because you spilled beer. So you lie and say, like, you can lie and just say it was him instead of the other 2, because the other 2, it was a dude that you can get a t-shirt from in the very beginning of the game, and it's the dude who let you into the barn at the very beginning of the game. So like, you feel, at least for me, and I think most people, you feel kind of bad, because you're like, the guy who let me into the barn, he was kind of nice, he was kind of cool, so I don't want him to be killed by the Damien dude. But anyway, after you lie, he's like, okay, cool, this is where Sarah is. We're back at the barn, actually. We're back at the barn where it all began. The typical trope of freaking stories, I guess. Oh, it ends where it begins. So when you're about to leave, oh behold, because they made it blatantly obvious by leaving that door open. Someone came in behind you and was stalking you. It turns out this is where it got even crazier. Where I'm like, what is happening to this story? It turns out it's Elliot, that cringe Warren replacement. It turns out he's like obsessed with you, I guess. He's like, oh, I knew it. What are you doing here, Chloe? And you're like, oh, it doesn't matter. Just let me leave. And he's like blocking the door. He's like, oh, no. You need to tell me. This is about Rachel, isn't it? Oh, I keep telling you, Rachel's bad. Rachel is bad. Listen to me. And you're like, what the heck is happening? Literally, what the heck? And he's like going all control freak mode, going like almost abusive husband mode, like where you're like, what the heck is happening? Like, he's like blocking the door. He takes the money. He's doing all this about like, being all protective, like, I guess like going to the next level of simp to stalker. And it's like, yeah, he was weird this whole game. Yeah, he like, you can go into his dorm and see that he wrote these weird poems about you. But this came seemingly out of nowhere. Like, there was no like lead up to it. It was just like, okay, this guy's weirdly clingy. This guy's clingy. This guy's kind of cringe. He keeps asking for a hug. What the heck? He's cringe. And then all of a sudden now he's like almost kidnapper level. He's like serial killer, stalker. Like, what the heck? So then you can't, which is weird for Chloe. Chloe's like, listen, I mean, it could be because she's afraid. I don't know. But she's like listening to him and like, she's like, oh, no, you don't understand. It's not Rachel. It's me. Oh, no, you don't understand. Oh, this is not what you think. It's not Rachel who's making me do these bad ideas. It's like, what the heck? Like, I'm thinking, like, based off of the Chloe from the past or in the future, I'm thinking you would get an option to like, I don't know, use the freaking like whatever it's called, the the trophy and smash him in the head and knock him out or something. But no, you have this like talking scene where like, yeah, maybe what he's saying is slightly true. Like, Rachel's the red flag. You don't understand. Don't you see that all this stuff is happening because of Rachel? Where it's like, not really. Even objectively, not really. Like, one, Chloe was the type to skip school. She already did. She was already skipping school. She was already about to go on academic probation or get expelled. Like, what's her name? Rachel was not the reason why Chloe got expelled. She was already the red flag, or Chloe was, in that school. Like, she was already about to get kicked out. Then he's like, oh, well, don't you see that, like, she forced you to go on the play? Oh, that wasn't cool. It's like, but Chloe didn't do it because she was forced. She did it because she is obsessed with Rachel, basically. Like, and it didn't even end up that bad, And, like, I don't know, the arguments that they made, it just seemed rushed. Everything about this seemed rushed. But not in a man, this was going to be a good story if we just had more time. No, it was like rushed this is just a bad story just from start to finish, to be honest. Like, it wasn't that great. So like afterwards, after he goes off on his tangent about like, oh, Rachel is the red flag, then you can go and call the police. So you have to do that whole little thing again, like where you have to do this argumentative crap. So I messed up, basically. In the end, I messed up because I forgot what I said, but I guess what I said didn't add up with what he said. So then he realizes that you have the phone and you're calling the police. He's like, I can't believe this. You piece of crap. So then now I don't even think you do anything. You just like he's like just screaming, saying, I'm just trying to help you. And then she's like, oh, you better run because the police are coming now. And then she grabs the money and grabs the phone and leaves. And then he, of course, leaves. Where I'm like, is this? Like, this is such a, like, this story's going everywhere and nowhere at once. Like, where there's no drama, but the drama that's happening is like seemingly random. Like, there's no connection. So then afterwards, you go to the barn. You see that, what's his name? The drug dealer's freaking RV is there. And you try to knock on the door. He doesn't answer. So you just assume he's injured. So then you go into the barn. And at one point, I could pick up a knife. So I'm like, okay, I'm about to end this. I'm about to end this with a super cool knife scene or something. Like, she's going to stab him at the last second or something. And make it all, everything all at least conclude. She defeated the bad guy. But no, it turns out the Damien dude, he has the heroin needle, and he's like, oh, I'm going to stab you, you're going to get addicted again. And then Chloe's like, hey, stop it. And then he's like, hey, what are you doing here? And then he like walks, and then he sees the money. He's like, oh, what, how? So then he walks up to her, and then you get like, I forgot, like 3 options. And I'm like, let me pick the knife option because I have the knife with me. Surely, that's a special thing if I use the knife. So I use the knife option, and then she just slices him, but she just slices his nose or in some of his cheek. So I'm like, what the heck? Like, what's the point of this? Like, why did I even pick up a knife then? If nothing's going to happen, like, he's not injured, he's not, like, it doesn't change the dialogue. I still get knocked out, which happens. He knocks me out because he's like, oh, you tried to kill me, and then stabs, and then he's like, oh, I'm gonna get you addicted to heroin. What is happening? What is this story? So then he's like, okay, I'm going to get you addicted to heroin. Oh, here it comes. Oh, you're going to be addicted now. Now you're going to see what it's like to have a lifetime pain of addiction. And then the mother, the Sarah girl who's like there, she's like, no, stop it. Stop. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to get you addicted again. And then he stabs her. So then he goes back to go to Chloe. He's like, oh, I'm going to get you addicted. And then he's going to stab her. And then it turns out the drug dealer dude, the bean guy, he's there now. And he's like stabbed because I guess during that fight, earlier before the hospital, which felt like a fairly while ago, at least on the timeline of things, but maybe it wasn't that long ago. Maybe it was only an hour ago. But the way that the freaking, like, the time of the hospital scene happened, it felt like it was a couple days, but I guess it wasn't. But he's still bleeding. He's like, oh, Chloe, don't mess with Chloe. And he's like, oh, you want to go for round 2? And then he's like, and so I guess he does. so then I'm like, man, there's about to be a fight scene. Okay. I'm relaxing because I'm like, okay, there's going to be a cut scene and maybe I'm going to come in at the last second with a knife or something. So I'm like, okay, let me go watch this. But then he Damien, before they fight, he kicks Chloe or something. So Chloe knocks out. I'm like, what the heck just happened? And then I see the Sarah girl, the real mother. She, I wake up, Sarah girl is smoking a cigarette at a table. So I'm like, huh? What is this? I'm thinking it's a dream sequence. So I'm like, okay, it's a dream sequence or something. Maybe it's connected to the whole father dream stuff, which, by the way, the father dreams was nothing. It was literally nothing. I guess it was just PTSD type dreams. She's just dreaming about her father. There's no connection to the Raven. There's no mystery of the father and the fire and nope. It's just all ended. It's all ended. Oh, she was just dreaming about the father because she missed him. Oh, the Raven, she was just dreaming about a Raven because, Ravens are kind of cool. It's just a Raven. Oh, the fire burned out. It just did. It just randomly burned out today. That's what the firefighter said. What is this? What is happening? This doesn't make sense. You're not adding up the pieces. The pieces are not connecting anymore. So anyway, I'm seeing this supposed dream sequence of the mother smoking. So I'm expecting there's going to be this big talk of spirituality or life, or maybe Rachel is the mother soon, and the mother's warning Chloe that, hey, you got to watch out for people like us. You got to break up or something. And maybe I'm like, oh, is that how it's going to connect to the end of the story and how it connects to Life is Strange 1? Why Rachel started apparently dating the drug dealer dude, who, by the way, is over 30. So it's a weird age gap. Just saying. I don't know what the heck the writers were on. I don't know if they're writing themselves into the story. And there's some weird fan fiction type of crap. But that's a weird age gap where she's 16, 15. He's 32. A little weird. Just saying. But then, and I am a little weird, a little legal, and weird to write into a story. Out of nowhere. They could have just made him 20 or something. It wasn't that hard to just say, oh, no, actually, this, the drug dealer dude is 20. No, they actively chose to make him 30. So I'm just saying. But anyway, that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. But no, they just talk. And she's like, actually, I don't want you to tell Rachel about me anymore. And also she said, wait, before you even talk about that, because Chloe says, what happened to the Damien and the other guy and the other drug dealer dude? And she's like, oh, they fought and they went off. I'm like, huh? So this isn't a dream. They just cut out everything. You don't see the reaction of anything. They just they just fought. Yeah, nothing to worry about. They just fought. Who knows what happens behind the barn or something. They just fought. So you don't even see anything. You don't see what happened. What was the point of all this? So now somehow she's unstrapped now because she was strapped up. She's supposed to be addicted to heroin, but she's smoking a cigarette. She's like, I don't want you to tell Rachel about me anymore. And you're like, what? Why? And then she's like, oh, I just don't want her to meet me. Oh, I don't want her to know the truth because that would break her. That would break her. Her father is her everything. That would break her. I'm like, what? Why? And she's like, I just realized that now. That would break her. I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm like, why? Nothing makes sense. So I'm sitting there like, what? What is this ending? So she suddenly, out of nowhere, who knows? It could have been because of heroin. It could have been, I don't know, just whatever. The whole point of the game, this whole story arc, where you see the father cheating on this mysterious woman. You find out the mysterious woman is her mother. You find out the mother ends up, she doesn't want to meet her. Even though she moved all the way to Oregon from California or whatever she's from. She moved all the way there. But ended up, she just didn't want to meet her anymore. No, she's a red flag. She finally realized it herself, that she's a red flag. She doesn't want to meet her. So 3 things.
That's crazy about this. One, the ending ends up that the mother doesn't even want to meet her. So you're like, what was the point of everything? What was the point of this whole journey that you took me on if there's not going to be any conclusion to it? There's not going to be any reward. There's not going to be any like you set up the story to nothingness. A whole secondary character that is so integral to this story. The whole reason, really, you did a prequel to show the mystery of Rachel. She's not even here with you for that conclusion. She's not even here for this ending. She's not even here for most of the episode. Most of the episode is her in the hospital. You see her for the beginning, the middle, and nothing else. You're like, what the heck? And the third reason, it's so anticlimactic. This third issue is it's next level anticlimactic. You don't see a fight scene. You don't see anything. You just see her smoking a cigarette. Where you're like, this sucks. That's all you can say. It's just, this sucks. So then after that, you're like, well, okay, whatever. So then you go back to the hospital. You go back to the hospital, I guess, with your head throbbing because you got kicked like crazy, you're all dirtied up or whatever. You have evidence for the DA, but it doesn't matter. So then you go to the hospital and you have a choice basically to tell her what happened or make a pretty little lie. And I'm like, I'm just going to tell her what happened because this doesn't make any sense. What was the point of everything? Everything that you built up just to, they did that with Life is Strange 1 too. But still, everything you built up just for it all to not make sense. And not only that, Rachel was planning on leaving Arcadia Bay for life. She fully gave up on her father. And that was just from one kiss. So why should I care that, she's not going to like her father anymore? I'm like, she already did it. She was already planning on running away from home. How am I remembering parts of the story and dialogue more than the writers themselves? So obviously I pick, let me tell her everything. And then she's crying. She can't believe it. She's looking at her father pissed. Get away from me. I can't believe you. This. And then the game ends, and you see them having a good time in Arcadia Bay. And then suddenly, it's them, them having fun and playing around in the scrapyard and, having a good time. It's happening. So does that mean she still lives with the father after, she supposedly hates him? What happens with her dating the drug dealer dude? What happens with her, her meeting Nathan and somehow getting kidnapped and then being killed for it? What happened to Mr. Jefferson apparently having relations with her? All this stuff is unexplained. We just had this whole 3-part useless story of nothingness that tells you nothing about the characters, really. Tells you nothing about Rachel. It doesn't really add up to the first game. It's just not a good game. I don't know. I just didn't like that at all. So, I don't know. Maybe other people would have different opinions because they're obsessed with Life is Strange and they love the characters no matter what, even if the characters don't add up. The fact that the character's name is Chloe, it makes up for everything. Where I'm like, no, it doesn't. If you're going to have the characters, the same characters, have the same plot lines. If you're going to connect it, you can't just throw everything away. I don't know. The people who write stories in these games are, I don't know. That's the thing that confuses me because I'm like, these writers were top of their league. They probably were writing since young. They went to college for it. They got internships. They probably wrote for TV shows or wrote their own book or whatever. They had certain accolades so then they could write for a major game studio or get the chance. How can they still not make a good story? How is that with a lot of writers? They obviously have all these accolades. They were given chances that other people weren't because, they had all these certain experiences or certain projects that they did where other people were passed on for these writing positions, but they weren't. So you would expect them to be, the best of the best, but then they're writing stuff in a way where you're like, I could do that. They're ending stories in a way where you're like, I could do better easily, where the fans make better. When I'm looking online about what are theories or what are people's opinions, they come up with better justifications or better lore reasons why apparently it just wasn't written in the story, but this is what actually happened. Their things make more sense than the writers. The writers, you spent months making this script and having, revisions and having people look over. It just boggles my mind. There's nothing really much else to say because I don't even want to talk more about it. And I rambled for an hour, but I hope it came through how disappointed I am with this story, how disappointed I am with the game. I'm just glad I got it on sale. If I got this full price, and I think that's what happened with Before the Storm the first time I played. That's why I had these bad, precognitions of it without remembering really how the game was because I probably felt that same way. And I never finished it because I was like, this game's just not good. And now I'm finishing the game because I'm like, I don't know. There's so much that could have been done with this game. And they just chose not to. They could have had a mystery element to it, a supernatural element. I keep bringing that up because that's what made Life is Strange 1 really cool, was the time travel aspect. Like at first you're thinking, oh, this is just another freaking like high school drama, you know, just another high school drama about high schoolers doing high school things. And then you see that girl almost got shot, or she did get shot. And then I went back in time. Whoa. And then you're like, wait a minute, I'm trying to solve this mystery of the missing girl or whatever. What's up with this missing girl? And then you learn, oh, wait a minute, there's even more darkness in this town than I ever imagined. And then, you know, there's the cliffhanger. It turns out Mr. Jefferson's the one doing these like murders and these taking pictures of stuff. You know, there's the girl almost committing suicide, you know, where you're like, whoa, this story has more depth to it than I ever imagined. Meanwhile, Life is Strange, Before the Storm is the complete opposite. There's so much little depth than you would have ever expected in this story, that every single episode leaves you more disappointed every time. Every time. And people will defend it. People try to defend it because they just like the characters. That's how much of an impact Life is Strange 1 had, where people are defending this trash freaking story. It's bad. The prequel is bad. It's barely a prequel. It doesn't explain anything about the universe. It makes like, I don't even know what you call it. Like it feels like a fan fiction. It doesn't feel like it's even connected to the story other than the graphics and other than character names being connected. It's a disappointment. Let me get off of that trash. There's probably other stuff I could have talked about in the game, but I just want to get off of it. So anyway, there's the bonus episode. This is going to be quick too. It turns out the bonus episode is just like, it's basically just an episode so you can see, what's her name again? You can see Max again. Because nothing really much happens in that episode. It turns out which is weird to me, I don't know if they said that in the game at any point in Life is Strange 1, but it turns out Max, the day that her dad died was the day that Max was about to leave. Like she was going to leave the next day or something. So she literally waited the very last minute to tell Chloe, hey, I'm leaving for good. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you, but I'm leaving for good. I'm moving to Washington State. Goodbye. So the whole day she was meaning to tell her, you know, after procrastinating it for so long, which, I mean, that's a realistic thing, I guess. But the thing about realism is realism doesn't make good story. That's the quote of the day. Realism does not make good story. But she pushed it off. And then it seemed Chloe ends up, oh, you know, let's play like little girls again. You know, even though we're 13, we're 14, let's play around like we're 9 and 7 and 8 or whatever their age gap is, 1 year age gap. They find like an old treasure map that they used to have. They're like, oh, there's a treasure map. Oh, we're going to find our treasure. The treasure that we forgot everything about. It's only been 4 years, by the way, since we made this treasure map, but we were so young back then. I forgot what we even buried down there. Like, you remember stuff that happened only 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know why they're acting like this is like some ancient, like, oh man, like say for me, if I found a treasure map at my age, and it was from when I was 8. Then I'm like, whoa, I don't even know what I did or what stuff I buried down there. This is interesting. But 4 years ago, 5 years ago, what the heck? Like, I'm still going to remember that. It's not going to be as mysterious, but still they're going to have their last adventure. So, you know, you go into the attic and find a glass piece so you can find where on the grass it is. And then you go down. I mean, it's a very quick episode. Then you go down to the backyard and you put it on a telescope where you're digging up a time capsule. You dig up the little time capsule. So it turns out in the time capsule, it's just little cute things of little girls being like, oh, you know, by the time you get this, maybe you guys are superstars and have 5 boyfriends and this. You know, where like it's cute, but it's like, I don't really care, to be honest. Like, these aren't my daughters. So I don't care. Like, I'm not in here to like, you know, go like, oh, look at little cute girls doing little cute things. Like, I don't care. I'm here for the intense drama and the depth of a story. But I guess people really just want to see Max again. So that's why they made this DLC. So then you also learn that Chloe's having issue at school because people are, you know, mean about her being a scholarship kid instead of rich, which doesn't make sense. Because not everyone in that school's rich. Like, we already see what's his name wasn't rich. The freaking Warren wasn't rich based off of the car he got. He got a used car. Freaking the jock and his brother weren't rich. There's probably others, but not everyone seemed like they were Nathan Prescott rich or Victoria Chase rich. So it was like, that was a weird thing. Like, okay, she's getting bullied at whatever the school is for not being rich. And then what else happens? Nothing much else happens. And then you end up telling Chloe hey, turns out I'm leaving. I'm sorry I didn't tell you until literally the last second. And then she's like, I already knew. I already knew this whole time. You know, our parents do talk, you know, I already heard it through the grapevine. And yeah, and she's like, yeah, I just wanted to, you know, I wanted to make our last times nice and fun without worrying about it. And then Max lies and says, oh, I promise I'll take phone, I'll call you and we'll text and we'll do this. Where it's like, why even do that? Like, I don't know. I feel like it would make more sense to hint that Chloe and Max, like Max was just, you know, it's just kind of a douchebag, just in general. Like, you know, she's just not going to call. She only cares more about herself kind of thing. So that's what makes it weird that they make Max in this way that she's super caring. She's so grateful for Chloe's friendship and they are basically sisters, how close they are, but then make it where the moment she moves away, she doesn't talk for 5 years until she moves back. And then, you know, they're good again. They're just like sisters. Where it's like, huh, then why add this lore of them losing connection and it's being because Max doesn't want to talk to her? Like, yeah, you can cope that, oh, it's because she was so awkward about the dad's death. But it just doesn't add up. Like, if you have to make these copes for it to make sense, then it shouldn't be in there. That's not good writing. So anyway, you see the mother come in after she like, you know, they make up about, or, you know, they talk about that she's leaving. And then the mother comes in, turns out, you know, the father died, so she's crying, and then now Chloe's crying, and then Max is feeling awkward, and then it turns out there's a funeral, and then Max is feeling awkward, and then she leaves because Chloe is mourning, so like she doesn't really want to talk to anyone. So then Max leaves for their parents, and then it turns out that they're literally leaving that day because everything's packed up into the car. So she leaves for Washington on that off note, and then Chloe returns back home all sad, and then Chloe sees a recording, and then it's Max going, no, don't always remember. I'll always love you. I'm so sorry. I'll always love you. You know, we go. I'll always keep talking to you no matter what. Just remember, I'll always be in your heart. And then she doesn't talk for 5 years. We're like, what? This writing is just not good. That's the moral of the story. I hope that Life is Strange 2 is better. Please tell me it's better. Like, I know other people have opinions about it, and they'll say like, all the games are bad except for Life is Strange 1 and Life is Strange Before the Storm. But based off of those opinions, how I played Before the Storm, that means these other games are about to be the worst of all time. If that's true. Because if they're saying Before the Storm is one of the best games, I'm just hoping people are just dumb. And they might just be. People are. But let's just hope. Man, if anything, it's almost a good thing that Bryant, O'Neill, and Trevor are not playing this. It's so bad. And I would feel like, I don't know, I would feel very pressured and very guilty, feeling like I'm forcing them to play this trash because it's not good. It's not. Like, it just isn't. There's nothing I can really justify about it. I tried really hard to like feel like the game could like capture me. But the only good part of the game, literally, the only good part of the game was the fire scene. And that was only because I thought there's more to this. Or maybe she, you know, that scream was something. Oh, maybe the fire is going to be connected to the story. Nope. Just the story, a badly written one, because it's not dramatic enough to be just a full-blown drama. It's not supernatural enough to be cool. It's not like, I don't know, like the gameplay of it is not interesting enough to justify the story being bad. It's just all around a disappointment, which is sad because the game has so much potential. Let's just hope Life is Strange 2 is different. Let's just hope.